You gotta take the glasses off.
Was
You
that
have to
good?
look over your glasses and lower your eyebrows.
And with that, we're live.
That's one of our better starts.
So, welcome to Sales Angels Podcast episode 52?
Yeah.
70 something,
hi,
I
everybody.
think.
Something Airship Edition.
Yeah.
Good. We're here to review, fix, and
Talk about stuff.
And we've run out of stuff.
And discuss authors who don't actually write stuff anymore because we're too elitist to go and talk to the new kids.
And I feel awkward being the only person with video chat on.
And just wait till... Yeah.
Plum is plumbing around somewhere.
Well, I thought he was messing around with airships, and that's why he wasn't talking to us. Because he's too good for us now. With his airships.
Airship.
I was there for the glorious defeat.
And yet you got here before Plum did, and he still hasn't showed up.
Well, clearly Red wasn't as dedicated. I mean, come on, rats sinking ships. It's only a few steps on the tree, right?
I was the pilot. I wasn't sinking anybody.
Ooh.
Except for the enemy, that is.
What happened to Captain Goes Down with the ship?
We have a special guest.
Yeah!
We do?
We have with us tonight the awesome author Sunchaser, who also goes by Sunny, and has also acknowledged that Celestia is supposedly best princess.
Supposedly? Excuse me?
No.
At least two people have agreed.
At least let him say hi first.
Oh, there we go.
Hi, I'm Sunchaser. Is the best baby. There is no.
Hello.
God damn it, Plum.
Love you, asshole!
Hello.
Hold on, Paul. He's introducing himself. Hold on, he's introducing himself.
For Christ's sake, somebody mute Plum.
Well, now I know how Plum's going to start his bit on the panel.
Basically.
Yeah, after
Introduce
our
yourself.
time is late.
Alright, carry on, son. My bad.
Alright.
I guess I'll do it again.
Good idea.
I'm Sunchaser. I'm mostly known for writing Twilestia, notably The Lavender Letter. And now that I've not written Pony for a year and a half, I'm finally a guest on a podcast.
Like
You're
I said.
also hosting a panel at BronyCon. So.
Oh yeah, there is that. I am the head panelist for the Do's and Don'ts of Fanfiction, which being the basic introductory panel, it makes sense that it's after most of the specific and expert ones.
Well, that's why you can just go
It's
back and watch
after
them
the
afterwards.
advanced panel. Of course. It's
They're gonna
perfect
record
time
them.
travel.
You
I'm
can
going
watch
to
them
be
after
at
the fact.
BronyCon. I will be there silently judging you.
Right! I will join him and help silently judge you as well. Until I have to run
I
to
will
the
be there
panel.
vocally judging you on the panel because I'll have a mic.
Oh, good. We can swap
Fantastic.
cell phone numbers, and I can text you, and you can help judge him.
Excellent. By the way, apologies for being late. My joke, well, what I'd originally intended to be a joke that I was too busy flying airships to join the hangout, turned out to be quite real. Sorry.
He decided airships were more important.
Absolutely. I mean, it was a good game, wasn't it, Red? It was a pretty fucking close game. If we didn't have that Spire on our
It
team.
didn't have that frickin' Spire.
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
The
Well.
weakest link in the chain that kept trying to hold the most weight.
It's like, you've got your ship kitted out to be a sniper. Lead the charge. Go on, do that. That's the best thing
Yeah,
to do.
don't let the ships of the line, take the hits for you or anything.
Hey, why not? It worked for Leroy.
Apparently so. At least he has
Somebody
chicken.
actually dug up that freaking meme the other day. They were like, look, Leroy Jenkins is the only thing that ever became super famous from World of Warcraft. They're just kind of, really? That's what you pick? Okay. Sure.
Of course.
There are plenty
Perfect.
that got famous from World of Warcraft.
Yeah, exactly.
Indeed.
That actually had its 10-year anniversary about a month ago.
Yeah, I think that was why. Was because it was a 10-month anniversary post about it. And it was just kind of, oh god, it's that old?
So for the 10th anniversary, did they give every player a complimentary Thunder Fury, Blessed Blade of the Windseeker?
Oh, don't you fuck.
Sonny, I love you. This is why you're on the podcast.
Do you know what? I'm going to go back to airshipping. Bye.
Okay.
Airshipping.
You don't need
Okay.
to.
I'll be aboard the HMS Apple Dash.
I hear that
I don't get what just happened.
somebody
Somebody
said
else
Thunder
explain
Fury,
it.
Blessed Blade of the Windseeker.
Jesus Christ.
Plum explains
Here,
it.
arrows.
Should we talk about reviews?
Yes, who was on
Yeah,
the
we
last
did
round of reviews?
That
That was
Cordy
me.
and I.
Yes. That was two of us.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
We've actually got two people here to talk about them. Well, go ahead.
my gosh.
Yes, yeah.
Well,
Yes.
yeah, get us on topic for once.
For once, he says.
I like how like the first chat message in the the second chat message in the Seattle's Angels chat as soon as we updated the chapter title to have a link to the live stream is we sacrificed a perfectly good game of Guns of Icarus for this. I hope you're happy.
In response, yes, we are.
Right, carry on then. Reviews, let's go.
What was
Alright,
the
guys,
first story?
first.
Well,
First story was The Sunset Room by Foxy E. And this
Presumably
is
no other
just more
relation to The Room?
no relation.
Oh, good.
thank God.
And this is just more evidence that we need a horror tag.
Yes.
And why do you say that? Like, what's wrong? Why do you think a horror tag is more necessary than, say, just a dark tag?
Because dark
Because we have a dark tag.
dark implies things like violence, more
Yeah.
bloody sorts of things. But horror isn't. It can be psychological, emotional, which this one very much is.
I don't know. To me, dark implies like just it's dark topics, whether it's violence or whether it's psychological pain or.
Dark, sorry, but dark is like the main umbrella term, and then you have like gore.
Yeah,
and then you
something
have horror.
doesn't have to be horror to be dark. Like
Yeah.
like Fallout Equestria is dark, but I'd never call that a horror story. Good lord, unless you're talking about the grammar.
Or some of the plot points. Those are pretty
Yeah.
horrific.
Those are pretty horrific.
Or just the
So,
story
yeah.
itself.
Sorry, K-Cat.
Carry on then, Raz.
Oh, the question. Contemporary.
We're not quite getting to the point where it's contemporary.
Mm-hmm. Raz, say words, please, for the love of God.
And,
We're waiting.
Talk
And
about the story.
The story is about she's trying to come over her. She's like a battle of odds. She was told not to open the door into Big Mac's room, but at the same time, not doing so would be going against her family values. So she's having this battle with herself,
Mm.
and there's a really nice psychological aspect to it, which I liked a lot.
Very cool.
And for background to that, the reason she can't open the door is because he's been infected with some sort of magic that Twilight's trying to go figure out a cure to.
Interesting. So is it a race against time sort of thing? She needs to get through the door before she collapses of an unnamed magic disease?
No.
No, the idea is that Big Mac is the one who's
Oh,
sick.
Big Mac. Okay.
Yeah,
My
AJ is
apologies.
fine. It's basically Big Mac is in quarantine.
Right.
And Twilight is going, you can't go in there, he's super infectious and sick and contagious. And AJ is going, I don't want to ignore Twilight, but on the other hand, I don't want to abandon my brother.
Yeah.
So it's her
My bad for
fighting between
misunderstanding,
those two
yeah.
ideas. I read the reviews.
I read the intro and outro and skimmed the review.
Obviously.
Just gonna say the outro was absolutely on point. That was
That was
fantastic.
beautiful. Considering you guys were frantically trying to figure something out, that came out really well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh dear.
Next
Okay.
story.
Department of Redundancy Department by Elliot King. And it's basically, as the title seems to suggest, there is a department full of redundancies because everything in Ponyville gets destroyed. So they have a copy just in case. This is Twilight trying to process the information while Pinkie Pie goes on like it's just regular business.
Because
I mean,
to her it is.
she does have plans for emergencies in case of emergencies, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We do know
What it
Pinky
really
has
is it's a
eye
good.
patch.
Sorry.
We do know Pinky has an eye patch stash for some strange reason, so
It's
Yeah.
true.
If anybody would be prepared for disasters that nobody else would ever even think would happen in any realm of reality ever, it would be Pinkie Pie.
This is very true.
Pinkie does not adhere to any realm of reality ever. She adheres to very different realms of reality.
She adheres to her own reality with blackjack and hookers.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, it's a good like little peek into like the fourth wall that Pinkie Pie uses. So that's one thing I really enjoyed about it.
That'd be interesting, because that can be really hard to pull off well.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
It was short
Especially in
enough that
writing.
It did it well.
I mean,
They didn't try
it's-
too hard
if
to
it's-
over-explain it.
If it's a department, like the entire basis of this story is actually pretty meta to begin with, you know, this whole thing about the fact that Ponyville actually has a department to keep the town from functioning because of all the random shit that happens there magically. So, you know, it's pretty meta from the start. So
Yeah.
Right, third story then, Raz.
I think I'll let Corjo do this one because he loves it so much.
Alright,
Love
Core,
it.
third story.
This one
By the Skype message.
I really like this one. It's called An Ally Called Preponderance by Myriad K. It was an entry to the, I think it was the Most Dangerous Game contest.
Yep.
For the,
I think so.
Yeah, it
for
was.
the My Little Dashie prompt.
Yeah, I seem to recall mention of it.
Yeah, it was really cool. It was designed to be like a diary kind of entry format, but then the way it just kind of like balanced between that and then just being straight up narrative, like following the characters, and then the way that Myriad took the perspective with the iPod or the FaceTime with the thing, the phone. I thought it was really, really well done, and the suspense was just constant.
You did say that it was in your top 5 fics ever, didn't you?
It's my top 2, yeah.
Yeah, it's
Top
it's,
two.
it's one of those
Wow.
stories that like I'm honestly surprised this didn't make it further into the finalist round of the Almost Dangerous Game,
That or even
because
just
this is better than a lot of finalists we got.
yeah.
It's entirely possible that in one of the early rounds, the judges who saw it thought it didn't really adhere to the prompt enough or something like that.
And it got
One
knocked
thing,
out.
it did go. It was 19,000, and I think the limit was 15. So that might have
That
been.
would have done it too.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we did have to be really strict about that because there were so many stories.
There were a lot of stories. Jesus
I was
Christ.
going to say, and I mean, it's a shame to have something that's clearly that good get knocked out, but
Hmm. I'm sure there were reasons, even
Yeah,
if
I
I'm
was
not
gonna
privy
say.
to them, even though I was a judge.
yeah, I was going to say.
But yeah, I'm definitely going to be checking this one out at the very least,
Yeah.
simply because of the amount that Core's been talking about it.
I was going to say, it sounds really cool.
Mm.
Yeah, you know, I really don't read many stories, so.
Yeah. That's why it's worth when, you go, hey guys, this is a really good fic. It's definitely worth taking a look at.
Mm. And what was the last one then?
Have at Thee by Tramper. It was a
Oh,
derby
the derpy one, yes.
Yeah, the Derpy becomes a knight thing.
Mm.
Well, sort of. Derpy becomes a jouster.
That sort of thing. Any
Yeah.
comments?
That's totally common, There are a million stories about Derpy being a jouster.
I mean,
They're as
The-
bad
the-
as X is a changeling fix, damn it!
the guest we had on last week literally has Derpy as a princess, so there's
Yeah.
a few Derpy fix.
There
Yeah, I
are.
like
It's
it.
just,
It's funny
Alright.
how background ponies are so versatile, and yet people choose to use them for such specific purposes all the time.
Yeah.
True.
It's interesting that they took Derpy of all ponies and made her a attorney.
Mm.
Really, with this story, and I said this in the review, is
Mm.
she actually isn't portrayed as like the I'm an idiot and I'm a klutz kind of derpy you normally see
Yes.
like
It's
the muffin
competent.
fanatic. So that competent was the word someone used in the comments, and that's something that really struck out to me. And then more, what I enjoyed about the story was the moral that the author used her as like a staging point for, because the perspective comes from Amethyst Star, I think was the narrator.
That explains why Raz liked it.
yeah, I was going to say, I think in his review he even crossed out, I didn't choose it just because of Amethyst Star, because I was lying.
Right.
Guilty as charged.
Oh dear.
At least you admit you have a problem.
That's the first step.
Oh, is it? I thought that was like the fourth step, my bad. Not the first
You
three
make
where
it
you
sound
know.
like this. You make it sound like there's a problem I want to fix.
Well, I didn't say that.
Oh dear. Any other comments of this other than the fact that a competent derpy is actually a good thing to write? Authors, please, for the love of God.
Acknowledge that writing your characters as competent is far more interesting than I'm a retard.
Huh, muffins. Huh. Yeah.
I mean, if you guys don't mind me spoiling the story, I did really like the moral, and I don't want to talk about that song.
Yeah.
I'm okay with it.
No.
Well, I mean, we might be okay with it, but this is a podcast that's going out to people, and they might not be. So
Okay.
Yeah.
if you can avoid spoilers, that would be great.
Or my thought would basically be the option say, all right, there are going to be spoilers, turn it off, and then after 5 minutes, hold up a sign that says spoilers are done.
Do you have that sign?
I do not.
No,
Do
but
you have
somebody with a webcam could presumably take a sheet of paper and write spoilers done in a marker.
That's paper nowadays. Everything's digital.
Hold up your iPad then, Jesus. Make me do everything, Christ.
I think you made much of them, Ferret.
Meow.
Mm,
Well, I guess I'll just say it's worth reading for the moral. It's a really good moral, and I liked how they framed it around Derpy. It was very good and well done. I guess that's the best I
Meaningful
can say.
that it was derpy, or could they have used like a different
Because
character?
no, I liked it just because of the moral, and
Okay,
she
cool.
she was just a good pick for it.
Awesome.
she's a good vessel.
It really
Yeah.
did like I mean, like, we were saying that she's a competent derpy in this, but the I guess you would say like the unwavering optimism that you normally see in her because she's too stupid to realize that she's down in her dumps or something like that.
Well, I always wondered about that. I mean, I know ignorance is bliss, but there's got to be a limit.
Oh yeah, but I mean, like they took the competent derpy and then they still had the unwavering optimism, and that's what I liked about it. And that optimism balanced well with the narrator, and then that's what really made the moral hit home.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds good.
Oh, that's
yeah.
the most words I've ever said.
That's
in a
at least
podcast.
2 stories that I'm going to definitely read out. So
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, because I really do like the sound of the third one that you mentioned. That was very interesting. And competent derpy is always a nice character. It's always nice to have not just like characters who aren't dumb, but characters who are 3-dimensional, as opposed to just a 1-dimensional sort of gimmick where it's just a derpy loves muffins and is dumb, or someone that.
Or I wouldn't really call it 3-dimensional, but she was
just
at
maybe
least
Doctor Who because
more
that makes
developed.
perfect sense.
yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, if it's just a short story, then yeah, it's pretty difficult to turn what is stereotypically just the muffins character into a fully fleshed out character. But at least the more you can flesh them out, the better, generally.
Yeah, absolutely. What I find interesting is that sort of background characters really do kind of get these defined fanon personalities, and that it does become rarer and rarer as these fanon personalities get developed, that people are more and more reluctant to sort of do something different with the character. And I sort of wonder if some of that is sort of, this feeling of, well, this is their personality, so I shouldn't write them differently, or if it's kind of a social stigma thing where it's like, oh my god, you wrote Octavia wrong, you're a horrible person.
I would definitely say it's the social stigma thing.
Yeah.
I do think that's just dumb. That's just really dumb. Like, I know people have their own headcanons, and I know fanon is something that's constantly evolving, and a lot of people love the fanon that's been developed.
Oh,
But-
yeah.
And there are some nice things in the fanon. There are some, despite the overwhelming majority just being muffins and wubs
Rubbish.
and stuff like that. But just open your mind a bit and explore other possibilities for these characters who have very little character of their own,
I have to say this just because of your open your mind comment, because if you open your mind too much, your brain will fall out.
Mm-hmm. Your brain will fall out, absolutely.
Oh,
It'll
tragic.
look like a muffin.
And it will be delicious.
Then people won't like their stories and put them in the feature box.
Mm.
Oh yeah, that's true. If you do want to write something unique, you have to use your own OC.
Absolutely.
I
Or
do feel like
or
OCs
Princess
have
Nayimbu.
stopped being... Yes.
Well, yeah, we set our own OCs.
true.
He's got a point. She is practically the official mascot at this point.
She pretty much is, just like how Flash Gordon is our official theme song, despite the fact that we've not sung it in like 30 episodes. But yeah. What were you saying, Ferret, about OCs?
I was just commenting, I really like, having been around since earlier days of the fandom, I really like that OCs don't have the same stigma they used to. Like, I can remember going on Equestria Daily and people would go, oh my god, it's an OC story, massive amounts of downvoting and hate. Now it's, people will actually go, hey, it's OCs. Alright, I'll give it a shot.
Yeah, it's really interesting because that's the exact opposite of the way things are in a lot of other fandoms. Like, if you go into Harry Potter fandom and write a story about Harry Potter, you will get shat on. You will get
Oh yeah, people will just destroy you.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck do you think you're doing? How dare you have the nerve, blah, blah,
how
blah,
dare
blah.
you touch the sacred J.K. Rowling scripts for your own, you know?
Fuck off.
Yeah.
The only thing sacred is her bank accounts. Jesus. I'm sorry, I would love to have that kind of money.
I mean, pretty much everyone would, at the very least.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very weird that this sort of this fandom of ours, initially at least, developed in the other direction, where stories without the main cast in them were hugely frowned upon. And I'm curious as to why people might think that was the case.
I think it's because of well, we have, like, when you use Harry Potter as an example, it's very linear. You cannot take the character out without really upsetting the canon timeline.
Yeah,
I mean,
but in this, it's less. There's like less. It's more open. There is very limited amount of continuity between events.
I mean, obviously one couldn't. Obviously, if one was to write Harry Potter did something during the Goblet of Fire, you'd be messing with canon. But a lot of the stories which got shat on would be stuff like stories about Harry Potter's kids. I have no idea what they're called. I never really cared that much.
I think it depends on who you have him marrying.
Yeah, I mean,
or if you do like the fuck canon thing where he like goes and learns grey magic and then I think nails like Ginny, Luna, and Hermione. I don't know. We were talking about it.
Like a great Jedi. But I was just
we were talking about it in the BronyCon chat last night for some reason.
Wait, that didn't actually happen?
I don't know. I stopped reading after book 4. I started the 5th one, and I got the whole carving bloody furrows in his arm and went, I'm good now. I think I've outgrown this. I don't want to be part of this world anymore. This is gross.
The simple answer is to write Simpsons fanfiction instead and find yourself a Swedish wife. Cheers, Art.
Hooray, Arcanex!
Mm.
Fun fact, it worked for him. Why not for you?
It absolutely worked for him.
Sunny, what's your take on it?
Yeah, go on, son.
Oh, so now I'm just being put on the spot.
Yep.
Absolutely.
That's what we always do.
I kind of wonder, because we're also looking at it from the perspective of ponies is still ongoing, whereas the Potter canon has basically been enshrined.
True. This is a fair point. This is a fair point. The Potter movies and books are done with, and unless Rowling fancies another couple of million, they're not going to get touched again.
I think she said she's amenable if they bump it up a few more numbers.
Well, I mean, the answer to that is like, even like Harry Potter related stories which were set outside of the established movies, like they took place after the final book. Like they've got Harry Potter as one of the Death Eater chasers off after books 9 or whatever it fucking was. Even those ones got shat on for simply the fact that they used established characters, and they kind of got shat on for like using characters that weren't their own, which is a sort of odd dichotomy with what we got going on. We're talking about the way the Brony fandom fanfiction differs from others in terms of how they treat OCs. So
yeah, whereas like most fandoms, OCs are great. Everybody loves OCs. It's if you touch the actual like canonical main characters, that's when you're a heretic and everybody hates you. Whereas in the pony fandom, originally OCs were anathema. You know, it was like as soon as people saw the OC tag, they went, never touching this.
Yeah.
Like, there are still really old stories on fanfiction that in the story description says, I know it's OCs, give it a shot anyway.
Well, on the other end of the spectrum, you got Sonic OCs.
Yeah.
We don't talk about Sanic.
We don't talk about Sanic.
Sanic is verboten in this chat.
Okay. Let's end it there.
Shut your face.
Yes.
Gotta change topics.
Simply by mentioning Sonic OCs, we understand everything.
Pretty much.
Simply by mentioning Sonic OCs, we have just spawned 500 more.
Professor Plum the Hedgehog, eh? Oh dear. In
I
fact, no.
wonder if
Plum the Hedgehog already exists. I found this out the other day. I didn't think Plum would, but it's actually a surprisingly inoffensive Sonic Hedgehog OC. It's surprising in that way, but
I have to look this up.
yeah. Feel free to. That's the game, isn't it? Where you
It's
just
actually,
Google
yeah.
your own name, the Hedgehog.
It's a
Yeah.
thing where you can look
Is there
up.
a Sun Chaser the Hedgehog?
Probably.
Let's find out.
You don't want to find out.
I want to find out. Let's see
No,
what.
she was actually pretty harmless.
It's
I mean,
just
like
fairly.
the hair over one eye is a little like, ooh, I'm edgy, but no, I could actually see her in the fandom.
I went into
I mean-
Google image search, and apparently a Mighty Ducks OC is called Sun Chaser.
That's hilarious. That's fantastic. Oh dear.
Oh, what darkness have I wrought upon this chat?
Mighty Ducks OC.
The best OCs are the ones that OBS have fallen in love with. Five Nights at Freddy OCs. Oh, they are
God, those
beautiful
things are
in their
frightening.
crapness.
Oh, they're sublime.
I've actually seen.
It's
They almost beat out Sparkle Dogs.
it's a distinct flavor of shit, and it's fantastic.
It really is.
I say this as a connoisseur.
Also,
I can just imagine you sitting at like a garbage plant, just kind of sifting through garbage, going, this one's very piquant. I'll put this one to the side, and no, that's not up to my standards. I'll rotten it up.
Interestingly, Arch, from the point of view of a veteran reader and writer of many different fandoms, says Futurama and Simpsons, the Matt Groening shows, tend to focus around the main cast more than other fandoms do. So I'm wondering if it's to do with the fact that Futurama, Simpsons, and My Little Pony all have like
Huge
a cast that share the limelight between each other. Like Harry Potter, at the end of the day, is primarily about Mr. Potter doing things. He has his friends there, they turn up, they do stuff, but it's about Potter.
I think it has more to do with the openness of the shows.
Also true. We did
Because
touch upon
there
that
is
earlier.
there is no like direct storyline. You cannot see obvious progression, but there is no storyline.
It's entirely possible that practically any realistically written story on FinFic could turn out to be an episode one day eventually, you know?
Yeah.
Like
the
like
characters-
Sunny Skies All Day.
It helps that
Breadth for that sort of thing, as opposed to the linear, direct, this is how it goes narrative of the series of Potter.
it
Yeah.
also helps that the characters themselves are more like archetypal than anything else.
In Futurama?
No, I mean in My Little Pony.
Oh yeah, and in Futurama.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Because when the main characters themselves are versatile, then it's easier to see them in all these different situations.
True.
another thing I would think is also because of how the fandom early the show didn't really have much in terms of like adventure, like going all over the place in the world.
Yeah, it was very slice of life, focused in one place.
Yeah, it gives people the ability to think about like different kind of adventure stories, and then because of those adventure stories, they'd have to branch out and not necessarily be able to include the main six.
Is it possible it could have something to do with the fact that as a TV show and with the more episodic content, like we've already mentioned the fact that like My Little Pony and Futurama and stuff, they've got all these branching plot lines that go off and they've been to other universes and stuff like that, and all this is possible and you can see things being possible. But like, is it possible the episodic format itself is indirectly or directly responsible compared with something like Harry Potter, where you've just got 2 hours where you're sat and that's the story, and that's like a 2-hour episode versus a 20-minute episode. You can fit an awful lot more strange and wonderful things in a bunch of 20 minutes. So.
I think that
definitely see that being a factor.
I think that's definitely one of the primary causes, because it was less about the arc that the characters were going through and more just about the characters themselves, and so we focused on that instead of you must not break the canon of Twilight Sparkle's storyline, because there was no storyline. So
yeah. Like in the Harry Potter ones, the only way you could fit something in is in between the movies or either side of the movies. And there's 7 movies, 8 movies? That's
8, I think.
8 total, yeah.
Yes, that's 9 time periods. That's 9 time periods. You've got before, you've got after, you've got the 7 gaps in between. and that's it.
Yeah.
You know, effective.
Also, probably because of since the show itself is designed to be teaching morals about friendship, there's a lot of different things that you can go. There's a lot of different
True.
branches that you can go through.
It's true that My Little Pony and more episodic shows in particular are more focused towards actual morals, as opposed to something like Harry Potter, which is more about wizardry.
The moral in Harry Potter is be a wizard.
Yeah, really.
That's a pretty good moral. I'd follow that moral.
I was gonna say that's a moral that's been going on for a few decades now.
Because if you're not a wizard,
Myself,
then
I find that being a wizard makes everything better.
No, you have to
Not a wizard.
No, you have to die.
Yeah, you can only pull it off because you have the accent plum.
I don't quite have a Hagrid accent.
Also,
No,
if you're not a wizard, then kill them. Because if you're not a wizard, then you can expect to face regicide, and
Yeah, like in the Harry Potter series, like basically all you saw Muggles doing were like just sitting around in cafes or being killed.
Yeah,
those are the two things that you've
the
got.
moral of the Harry Potter books is if you're not a wizard, your life is going to suck.
It's gonna suck.
Wait, Plum. So what you're saying is that if you're not a wizard, you have two options: cake or death.
Fuck you. Fuck you. Fucking Eddie Izzard, Jesus Christ. Is he still running for London Mayor? Is he still doing that? Because I know he was running for London Mayor at some point, which is hilarious, and I would
How serious
absolutely
was
vote
he
for him.
about it?
Very serious at one point.
That's
I'm gonna look
awesome.
this up.
Christ, I'd
That's
vote for him
hilarious.
if I could.
Eddie Izzard, London Mayor. Comedian Eddie Izzard has confirmed that he will throw in his hat into the ring for London mayoral elections in 2020. So yeah, we can vote for Eddie Izzard to be the mayor of London in 2020. That's
Speaking
fantastic.
of, can I point out how weird it is that China is getting the Olympics in 2020, just like in Akira?
Oh Jesus
Sorry,
Christ!
Japan. You know, Akira said in
Yeah.
2019 where the Olympics is happening in 2020.
Canada.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
China's getting the Olympics again?
No,
Okay.
Japan, sorry.
Japan's getting the
Okay.
Olympic. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I misspoke.
Ferret was racist to like a third of the world's population just then.
I'm a ferret. I'm racist to everybody. You're not my species.
Accurate.
What do I care?
Accurate.
Species.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not racist. I'm specious. Get it right.
Fantastic.
God. People.
Friggin' humans.
Can't do
But
anything
yeah.
with them. At least they can use can openers.
I remember there's one TV advert which I remember but nobody else seems to remember. It's an advert for like milk or something like
So
that.
how do you know, if nobody else remembers it, how do you know you didn't just like hallucinate
Because
it during
I'm
a fever
absolutely
dream?
convinced I did not make this up because it was an
Okay.
advert about milk. I think it was like Cravendale milk or something, where the cats, they had opposable thumbs and they just sort of moved around in gangs going like this. Just like,
Oh my
and they would
god, that'd
open
be
doors.
hilarious!
They opened doors to get to milk, and the advert was like, you wouldn't want cats with opposable thumbs. Thankfully, fuck them. They don't have them. Here's your milk. Like,
Oh my god, that sounds awesome.
and I'm convinced it's out there somewhere, but I've...
Some
I should-
corner of the universe possesses this magical thing.
Yes. Oh, dear. Anyway, we should probably talk about our guest, considering we have a guest, so, you know.
You know,
Hello,
and you were like,
Sanjay
go
sir.
and get us a guest, Ferret! And I got you a
Yes.
guest, and now you're neglecting
did.
the poor guy.
You did, in fact, get us a... And the guest was here before I was, so, you know.
Yes.
Let's all introduce
And then
Sanjay
you ruined his introduction too.
for the third.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has done his introduction,
No,
which I
you
was there
ruined
for.
his
So
introduction,
ruined
he
it.
said.
well, I was there for the full take two. So,
Actually,
Yeah, but we had to have a take two because of you.
shush. That's not
Yeah.
important.
So this
That is not important.
So this is take 3 now, right?
Yeah, let's just scrap the last 20 minutes. Done.
Say hello to Sun Chaser all over again.
Hello, Sun
He
Chaser.
Pony Shippick, mostly Twilestia.
Yes,
he
and
used to.
he is running the Do's and Dirts fanfiction panel on at BrownieCon, which
So you should
shall
totally
be.
come and judge him harshly.
This will be an absolute train wreck.
Or not, your choice. Yeah,
'Cause
but
I'm
it's
gonna
only
be
because
on it.
you're going to be on it.
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna
I'm willing to
turn
bet
up
money.
late.
Come on, Sonny managed the writer's dinner. He
True.
nearly had a meltdown when he did it with,
Yeah, when
a
like
broken
double the
arm
people
and,
turned up.
what, 40 extra people.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was fun.
It wasn't
I'm just gonna
40, but it was planned for 45, and we ended up with 71.
say,
I just remember talking to people and you running around with your arm in a sling looking so frantic and feeling so sorry for you.
I mean,
So,
People
are you
kept
going
screaming
to,
and you're going,
Arch has found the video! Arch has
are you
found
going to
the
anticipate
advert!
like 70 people
oh
this time?
God, link it.
Yeah, I'm going to link it. 1 second. Arch has found the advert.
Just tell me,
Let's
you're gonna
not watch it
anticipate, like,
now,
70
because that'll
people this
just be
time?
us being silent for like 50 seconds. But
Yeah, I
yeah,
was going to say,
carry
we'll
on,
watch
Raz.
it after the stream.
Yeah.
Tell us your story, Sonny.
for the dinner, I'm expecting probably 50 to 55. I'm going to be a lot more stringent with if you don't have a reservation, you don't get in. Because, unfortunately, I mean, they only have so much space at that place.
So are you basically booking like the entire hotel?
Can I have a reservation, pretty please?
No, considering that I think we practically filled the hotel, we practically filled the place last year, that wouldn't necessarily be a bad idea. Like,
There
I
was-
wasn't trying to be facetious.
There wasn't any practically about it. 'Cause the reason we
this is
go
true.
there is they've got this whole back area for hosting like wedding parties and such where you can fit 60 people.
Oh, cool. So basically just reserve that.
Yeah, pretty much.
Sounds like a good idea.
I'm just gonna there won't be any of this 25 people attaching themselves to it as we walk over this year.
Yeah, here's hoping. Fingers crossed.
Well, no, we'll get, a couple of we'll get Aquaman to come be a bouncer.
Oh god, that would be intimidating.
I know, which is so bad because he's such a sweetheart.
Either him
so
or the
nice, but
descendant.
oh god, he's terrifying.
Beforehand.
The descendant looks like a goddamn grizzly bear. Like he looks like he could rip a man limb from limb. And then you talk to him, and he's like a children's teacher, and he's like the cuddliest goddamn man ever. He's not a bear. He's a fucking teddy bear. It's ridiculous. I love
I
that
had
guy.
yet to meet him, unfortunately. I would love to get to meet him.
Oh, I met him at BronyCon. It was so
That's
cool.
what everyone tells me. Is he's such a great guy, but I haven't had a chance to meet him yet. I wasn't there for it, so.
He sat down at one of the tables and just started talking about how Spike and Twilight have this sort of brother-sister thing going on, and people just formed a crowd around him to listen to him. It was fucking
How
great.
could you not? He has his Spike and Twilight stories are hands down some of my
It's true.
favorites.
His Spike Twilight stuff is pretty great. It's pretty
Oh,
top.
it's beautiful.
But yeah.
It's one of those, it's almost idealized in that, as someone who has a younger sibling, I go, yeah, I had moments like that, but mostly it was just a lot of yelling and screaming at each other.
As a guy with a younger brother, I can confirm.
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
I just started, I don't know why, but at some point I just started nicknaming him Duck, and
Your brother or
kind of
TD?
my brother.
Okay.
And
Well, I don't know. You might be talking about Descendant, and I'm like, okay, I wasn't there. Maybe that's what you were doing that year.
Maybe. But, he hated it, and then it started sticking with other people. Like, his friends started calling him Duck as well. Then my mum and dad started calling him Duck. Then our extended family started calling him Duck. And he's just sort of learned to live with it now. But Jesus fucking Christ, that was hilarious for 20 years.
Oh, poor guy.
Does he still get called Duck to this day?
Yeah. If I were to shout Duck right now, or if I were to quack right now, he would hear me and he would understand that I was calling for his attention.
He would just give you the absolute death glares.
Absolutely.
What?
I don't know. He's learned to accept it by now. He's just like,
He's
yeah,
just kind of fine. What?
I hear quacking. I hear the call of my people.
I must go. My people need me.
Pretty much. But yes, Sun Chaser.
He has written awesome
Yes, I am in fact here.
You are in fact here. Let's talk about the stuff you've done. How did you get into the fandom, good sir?
Oh, let me just reach my memory back 3.5 years.
You can do it.
Dear.
This was way back when I was still in university and I was a teaching assistant for
What were you
Japanese.
teaching for?
I was teaching Japanese.
Very cool.
Ooh.
Are you still fluent?
Fluent is a strong word. I'm conversational.
No, but conversation level of fluency is different from full proficiency.
Yeah, it's I would not call myself fluent, but I could get by.
That's fair.
My idea of fluency is based on how good I am with English, which is far better than most.
I
So
need to go help some people unpack their car. I'll be right back. Or maybe not.
That's code. That's code for airshipping, by the way. But yeah,
well,
Yeah.
shipping is
Yeah.
magic.
Red, I'm
True.
crushed.
very true.
You're abandoning us for airships.
So yeah,
Well,
Wait.
airships are pretty awesome. So
They are pretty awesome. Carry on, son.
way back almost 4 years ago when I was a teaching assistant, some of the students in my class were pony fans. And they were talking about it in class during the one semester, and they were going on about it because I actually talked to the students and built a rapport and all that in order to, actually get them to listen to me when I was trying to teach them things.
You madman.
Yeah, who knew?
You'll revolutionize the industry and bring it all down around our ears.
So I'd heard about Pony because it was just coming into season 2 back then. I was like, I've heard about this, and apparently it's not terrible, so maybe I'll actually look at it. So
that was your first mistake.
Look at it.
Clearly. So I actually started watching it in order. So I started with the season 1 premiere, which I hear actually drives people away, typically.
I think it depends on what you're looking for. Like, if you're looking for an adventure show, then yeah, the first episode being an adventure is going to be a pretty big letdown. If you're coming into going, oh my god, this is all adventure, and then it's like, no, actually, it's mostly slice of life. That's going to be kind of a, the disappointment.
Yeah. I mean, I personally did. I walked into the first couple of episodes blind, and I found myself okay with it. I wasn't particularly impressed. I couldn't this was like halfway through season 1. I couldn't see why there would have been such a hype built up around some of the sites that I was on. I was like, well, maybe it's like Avatar: The Last Airbender. Maybe the first couple of episodes are absolute dog shit, and it actually gets really good a bit later on. So, yeah. I decided to watch on, and I'm here. So shit. That was a poor decision.
It worked out.
Yeah. Ish.
Oh, you love us.
Yeah, I mean, airships.
Yes.
Alright, carry on then, son.
Yes. So, I watched the first half of it, and I wasn't terribly impressed. I mean, pretty much like you said, it was okay. And then part 2 of the opener, you get to the point where they're walking into the Everfree, and they see the scary trees, and Pinky launches into song.
Jesus.
And almost just nearly in time with Twilight, I go, tell me she's not. And then, like, a quarter second later, Twilight says exactly that. I'm like, okay, maybe I'm suddenly interested in this. So that kept me around.
Has potential.
I watched the rest of the first season until I eventually got to Dog and Pony Show.
Oh, it's so good.
And that's the one that sold me.
What about it convinced you? Like, what about that particular episode made you go, alright, I'm into this?
The whole... Basically, the way that they showed their willingness to subvert standard animation tropes. Like, it's like, yes, this is a kid's show, and yes, it's animated and such, but we're not going to do what you expect, and we're not just going to do the half-assed generic stuff. So when Rarity becomes the damsel in distress and immediately turns it around on its head by whining, which Tabitha did fantastically.
Yeah.
Like, okay, yeah, I'm pretty sold on this.
I can give this a shot.
And
so what led to you, because, like, again, your main experience, and you're mainly known for being a Twilestia shipper. So what sort of led you down to that? Like, was it sort of like their first interaction, you were like, they're totally banging. And I need to write about this immediately.
What caused this corruption?
We need Pav here. Pav's the other big Twilestia shipper.
Oh, Jesus.
He can be on his side.
He missed,
right?
he's missing this.
Right
he
now.
missed round 69? He missed round 69!
Yeah, he's in jail right now.
We had to actually, like, pretend that he was freaking out because he's just not around.
He's dead. Rip.
Anyway, because I'm not interested in passing judgment on certain people.
You're not interested in passing judgment, Miss China Japan, yes.
Yeah, I'm not passing judgment if he wants to ship Twilestia. I'm passing judgment on the fact he's an inferior human being. That's totally
I judge
different.
everyone all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, it's a natural
That's
state of
confirmed
being
for
human.
Skynet.
Yup.
Yes.
I just don't have lasers yet.
I didn't come into things as a Twilestia person, nor did I pick it up from the show. I think after the end of Season 2, I actually started... I was on Equestria Daily, back when, people went there.
Ouch.
Rip.
I saw
Rip
one of their
ferret.
fiction posts, and what the hell was it? I think it was actually Twilight's List by Kits.
Oh.
Alright.
And like, this sounds like it might be, interesting diversion for half an hour. And I went and I read that, and that was okay. But the point is, it brought me to film fiction.
Ew.
And that's where the real debauchery happens.
I found the
Yeah.
feature box, and through the feature box, I found things like Composure, Eternal. And
Oh dear. So you're saying the feature box inspired you to write? Is that what you're admitting
No,
to
you're
here?
not.
God.
Shut your face.
the feature box was. It's what showed me the things that inspired me to write. Because my time in university, like I'd spent 4 years doing nothing but writing rote reports and essays in full APA 10 references, make your citations and bibliography.
Yeah.
So I had no desire to do creative writing at that point because university had made me hate writing. And then I went and I read. Eternal was pretty good, but Composure in particular, except for the most recent last chapter, that didn't happen. The things that Varanus did in that story, particularly, I think it's the 4th chapter, where Twilight and Celestia are in the royal bath, and Celestia gets all soaped up by her servants, and then she goes and she dips into the pool to rinse off, and she steps out and shakes out her mane, and it says from Twilight's perspective, and he stared at her like a goddess risen from the surf.
Ooh la la.
Like that. Like, I remember being able to write like this.
So do you have a history of writing then? Have you written for other... Is it just like English degree sort of stuff, or have you written for other fandoms or whatever?
Nothing published, but technically I got my very first start as a fan writer way back in the 90s when I was still a teenager. Let me just put my walker off to the side here. And the very first thing I ever wrote was Pokemon.
What did you write?
We don't talk about that.
Aww.
So Gardevoir. No, Gardevoir wasn't a thing in the 90s.
No,
No.
it was way back when they only had the first set of games on the original Game Boy.
Does that mean it was Jinx?
Yeah. No,
Oh,
it's always
dear.
Pikachu.
It's long since gone. But it was your typical self-insert, trope-ridden mess that, if I were to read it now, would probably make me violently ill and require a hospital visit.
Yeah.
Yeah, but everyone has to start somewhere. You may as well acknowledge, you
It's
start
true.
when you first write. This is the universal point. Nothing that you write for the first time is ever any good. It's automatically garbage because it's the first thing you've ever written.
I mean, mine isn't, because mine is the story that will make Pav cry with shame. But aside from
Well,
that,
yeah, but you're an exception to the rule, Plum.
very true.
Yeah, and you haven't published it yet.
That too.
Also true, because people wouldn't be able to handle the weeping.
This is true. The whole world would just start flooding from tears. Wouldn't be the ice
Although it
caps.
would help California, but it wouldn't help Texas.
What's the one word you copied
Wouldn't it help
40,000
California,
times?
though? I mean, they'd have to filter out all the salt, wouldn't they?
Plum, what's the one
True.
word you copied 40,000 times?
It was actually 4 words. It was Raz is a dumbass. So
Well,
But, yeah.
it's a good thing you need 40,000
Oh,
words
salty.
to trust that.
yeah.
Anyway, back to our poor beleaguered guest.
Yes.
And don't worry about the tears, Farron. I'm sure that the internet can filter out the salt.
Yeah, that's true. They use it more
Just
than
get a
anyone
cup
else.
filled with. Get a cup labeled men's tears. There you go. Sorted.
Oh,
Yeah,
dear.
some of us just drink the stuff up.
Hmm.
I thought that was orphan tears.
Yeah, same thing.
Well, I guess if you have a really unrefined palate.
Yeah, same thing.
Ooh, getting saucy. Right. Carry on then, son, before this gets sidetracked again.
Again.
Like it ever stop.
So, I read Eternal, I read Composure, and those actually inspired me to read again. And then I went and I read Fallout Equestria in a day and a half.
Hmm. That must have been a pretty intense day and a half.
I would say that would be definitely a big change from Composure and Eternal.
I
Yeah.
also read Eternal in a single sitting, but it's a lot shorter.
Yeah, but I mean, just going from, these really powerful Twilight ship fix to Fallout Equestria would be a fairly big change in things.
Hmm.
To a point, but also in some ways not. Is like
How so?
the themes in Fallout Equestria, at least as of the time when I read it, were not all that different necessarily. Is Eternal in particular about like the regret of mistakes made in the past and things like that, which is very present, even specifically in the Celestia and Fallout Equestria.
True.
And since I'm a massive Fallout fan, I've been playing the top-down isometric since like 15 years ago. Like, I recognize that. So I just had a great time going through the whole thing. I understand that a lot of people have criticism for it, and they can do that, but I like a lot of what it did. I haven't read any of the other spin-offs.
I think I'm in a fairly similar position to you, whereas I can recognize that Fallout Equestria does a lot objectively wrong, and yet I still find myself having a positive experience overall. It wasn't perfect.
I have to admit I haven't actually read the entirety of Fallout Equestria. Present Perfect did sort of a live blogging of the audio version, and so from
Present
that,
Perfect hasn't played Fallout.
Yeah, I know, he's ridiculous. But in my defense, I played Fallout tangentially through friends' lunch breaks at high school, and I've played a bunch of Fallout 3. So I mean, I'm by no means a die-hard Fallout fan. I actually kind of prefer Oblivion.
Yeah, that's fair enough. But Present hasn't even played Fallout 3 or Fallout New Vegas. He hasn't touched any of them. And he was in one of his blogs. I remember him commenting I like the idea that getting addicted to things gives you negative stats. And then that's in the game. Oh, it's in the game. Oh, I'm disappointed that it's in a game. God damn it, PP.
Hello?
My point was
Hello, Red.
Hi, Red.
Hello, Red.
Hi.
Welcome back.
We missed you. How was the airshipping? Because that's totally what you were doing.
Crashed and burned.
Oh dear. Rip.
Turns out that squirrels don't have the body mass to actually turn those big wheels.
Right.
Yeah, I could have told you that. Ferrets don't either. You have to rig up pulleys.
I thought they just used their whole bodies.
Pulley system.
Depends on the ferret. But yeah.
True. Anyway, but basically...
So from Twilightia to Fallout Equestria.
Reading his review of it pretty much just kind of led me to the feeling of I wasn't really interested in it. So, I read sections of it, when he commented on something I found interesting, I would go read the section, but I just didn't find it that appealing.
Yeah, it's definitely not something for everyone, and I can totally understand basically every complaint anyone has about that bloody story.
Yeah.
About what?
And yet, Fallout Equestria.
Oh.
And yet, I still find myself having an overall positive experience. I wouldn't call it the greatest story on Earth, but
and I would never say
that
somebody shouldn't enjoy it. If you like it, that's great. It's not my thing, but that doesn't mean that you should hate it for some reason.
I think the reason I disliked Fallout Equestria is twofold. One, I'm not a big fan of Fallout in general. I just couldn't get into Fallout 3. The isometric games gave me a headache at first. I just couldn't get into it. And secondly, I read My Little Metro first. So.
Oh my God, yes.
I mean,
yeah. In fact,
that was me.
Now that's killed things.
Rip.
I guess.
But yeah, so.
Go read My Little Metro right now. It's my story.
What were you saying, Sonny?
Go print it out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go get
Yeah,
it
just print out a nice, fancy 300-weight paper copy of Fallout Equestria. It'll be fine.
Well, I mean, there have been printed versions of Fallout Equestria, and there have been some.
And
My Little Metro has been printed as of
I have to tell you this story. I'm gonna be honest. I've had a pretty rough last few months, but I got a message recently, just out of nowhere, from a user called Yescher, and he said that because in an effort to spread your story and because I was bored in a boarding school, I went and paid to have all 18 chapters printed on paper and read them in my spare time. Other students also became interested in what I was reading, and they decidedly like it, even though they had no idea that ponies existed.
That's pretty impressive.
That just put a huge smile on my face because, wow, whoever expects to get a message of kids in boarding school who have no idea what ponies are enjoying a pony story about My Little Metro.
and somebody enjoying it enough to go and pay to have it printed out so they can read it on their own
It's
time.
200,000 words. I don't think people realize how much paper this guy must have paid for. But I'm very grateful for him.
At the school print shop, that's going to be expensive.
Yeah.
It put a much needed smile on my face. Wherever you are, Yester, I hope you have a great time in boarding school. No, that came out wrong. That came out wrong. But yes, public thank you to Yester.
Aye. That's a pretty cool thing to do. It's not every story that gets printed out. Like, off the top of my head, the only ones I know of are yours, Past Sins, and Fallout Equestria. So that's a fairly exclusive club.
Flight of the Alicorn had a run as a hardcover copy, no less.
Yes!
True,
And it is beautiful, and I have a copy, and it is my favorite possession of pony stuff.
Lucky bastard. Dear. Here's where we sacrifice more goats to get the bloody sequel to Flight of the Alicorn updated. Yes.
Would be a nice thought. Personally, I'm looking for more platinum ground.
Did the Immortal game get a hard copy release?
The Immortal game?
I think Immortal game got a copy.
I don't think I've actually read the Immortal game.
I read a bit of it because I helped Walter deal with the Sweetie Chronicles, and they have a crossover chapter.
Yeah.
But I don't recall getting super into it, but I should give it another shot sometime.
I know it's basically like the quintessential dark MLP story that basically everyone's read and everyone mentions and everyone loves, but I'm just like, I don't know. It's never really caught me, and I don't know why.
Hey, kicking you off the panel.
What, sorry?
You're being taken off the panel.
Of course.
Laugh if you must, but I think he's quite serious.
There are certainly
probably nothing but improvement.
Reading. The Immortal game is on that list.
Okay. Well, if I read the Immortal game between now and then. Will there be a quiz when I turn up?
The superiority of it.
That could be a quiz.
Yeah, there may be a quiz when I get off the flight, like in the airport waiting for me.
Yeah, exactly. We're sorry, sir. Before we can let you take this cab, you have to answer a quick quiz.
Whose eye does Twilight shove a splinter of glass through in chapter 47? Because I know that's a scene. Because someone was trying to debate the rules of Finfic. They were trying to argue like, oh, the Immortal game gets away with a teen rating, and it has Twilight stabbing someone in the eye, and I was just I looked up the chapter and it basically just Twilight pushed something through his eye, and that was literally the description. I'm like, where's the gore?
I was gonna say, like, to me, a teen rating is entirely dependent on how much detail you're putting into stuff.
Yeah. That's what it says in the rules. Like, it's explicit gore is basically what's required for the mature, like the adult tag. But like, pushed it through his eye isn't really explicit gore. Like, if you had stuff about his eye popping or some horrible stuff like that,
if you're going into great detail about how she pushed it in and the results of it, then yeah, I would say you're definitely pushing that rating. But sounds like it's not a big deal.
So yeah, that was that. Anyway, what were we talking about before we got onto the subject of the Immortal game?
How Sunny basically got into ponies and went from Twilestia to Fallout Equestria.
Yeah,
that's true.
And how that led to him writing the Lavender Letter.
We do have someone, I think they've got the fan on their computer on very high, and it's becoming quite audible. At least I think that's what it is, but... Yep, that was it. Thank you, Cole.
Perfect.
Right. Carry on then, son.
Alright, I'll see if I can actually get through more than 20 words of the story this time.
I mean, we do sidetrack a bit.
It isn't so much that I went from Twilestia to Fallout. It's rather I went from hitting Eternal and Composer, and then I just decided to do a sweep of all of the big stories of the fandom that I could find. So I did Fallout Equestria, and I eventually got around to Past Sins, which I would personally score it around an A to an A+. This is, of course, assuming that the scale goes into the S ranks. Because for its time, it was extremely good. It doesn't hold up now necessarily, but that's not really a fair metric.
Yeah.
It's I don't know. I'm not sure. Like, as a story on its own, floating in a vacuum, I would rate Past Sins as average, maybe slightly above average, in terms of what FimFic produces. For its time, it was great, and then over time it became less great, and then it sort of got modified.
It
Like,
became less great.
I don't agree with what Penstroke did, where he went through his story and tried to update it to fit season 2 canon better, and ended up breaking an awful lot of it. Like, what the example which I always pull out is like, in the original writing of Past Sins, Celestia was stern but fair. After season 2 went up, Penstroke went through it and changed Celestia to more of a doting mother figure who reluctantly did things but was crying through an awful lot of it. So in scenes where previously she had been, no, it must be this way, I'm sorry, but it must, she's blubbering with tears and everyone's going on about how much of a bitch she is. And
Yeah,
it's not
that
great.
sounds really inconsistent.
Yeah.
Something that I wouldn't do.
Mm.
Anyway. Okay. For a while I was
You're cutting out
yeah, you're lagging quite badly, I'm afraid. Oh dear.
Oh,
What's up?
Yeah. You've got your headphones on. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Sun is lagging a little bit. We'll see if he can fix that briefly. We've probably been over it before, but I've basically just explained my position on Past Sins. What's everyone else's opinion on Past Sins then?
it was average.
Less
I mean,
than yours.
even the first time I read it, it was not particularly impressive to me.
Mm-hmm. I don't think. Go on.
The idea that I have a very specific idea about what Nightmare Moon should be and what she should represent, and like, for one thing, it was just weird from the get-go that Nightmare Moon is Luna, right? The canon has basically established that. There's no two ways around it. She is Nightmare Moon, and Nightmare Moon is Luna. And just the idea that they are separated, but not only that, but Nightmare Moon is all of Luna's negative feelings, and yet Nightmare Moon can also be split from her negative feelings, even though she is nothing but negativity, into like this little ball of pure goodness. It just didn't sit right with me.
So you have a problem with it on a conceptual level. What do you think about the story itself beyond that?
Very averagely written.
Yeah, like, I mean, the writing itself is all right. It's definitely not shockingly. But I have read much worse written stories than Past Sins. Good lord.
I mean,
but
it's just because you have proper spelling and grammar, that's like a requirement. That's not that's not a thing you get points for. You know, like,
True.
oh, your story is legible. A+.
Thumbs up, yeah.
Well,
Sun has
considering what we
dropped.
get now.
Yeah, Sun has dropped from the call. I'm assuming that's so that they can restart the call and hopefully have a better connection. So carry on, Raz.
What?
You were saying something.
I wasn't really interested in Past Sins to begin with, but I know now that I won't read it because going to edit a story to better fit it in with canon is like a no-go in my book.
Yeah.
Just because of that alone, I have no interest in reading it.
It shows that the author does not have much confidence in their story.
Well, I don't know. I don't think it was
that. I think
maybe
it's
it
more a
is in
case
some
of
cases.
trying to. Yeah, I would say I've met Penstroke. He likes Past Sins, and he's pretty confident about the characters. Like, he likes other stuff he's written more, like the it's not Alone in the Dark. It's the other one. Crossover fic that he's written that he adores.
Yeah.
The Portal one?
Not the Portal one. It's the writer dude.
I'm trying to think.
Alan Wake.
Alan Wake. The Alan Wake crossover
Yes.
he wrote. I know he was really, really proud of that, and it didn't get a lot of attention, and he's written an amazing an absolutely amazing Little Shop of Horrors crossover that
I actually
has
like.
really flown under the radar that he was kind of disappointed about. But I don't think like that he updated it because he was feeling insecure or lacked confidence or anything.
Well, that just makes it weird then to me.
Well, my
It's
thought
like,
is
why even?
Get him
Why
on the
even want it?
podcast, and then you can tell it to his face.
my thought is probably it's
that's very
because.
true.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
My
Yes.
thought is probably because it was such a huge story back then. It was like the #1 story like in the entire fandom going on while it was still being written. That once he got to that point, he was like under so much pressure to do it. Probably.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe,
Some of it
like,
might have been
it's also entirely possible that he just wanted his story to still make sense. I mean, yes, he wrote it at a time when people didn't really know much about Celestia, and he based Celestia on his idea of what she was like, and since then it was proven wrong, and he wanted to update it, I think, to try and keep it as correct as possible. I don't think it was particularly an insecurity thing or
Yeah.
anything like that.
I know he also had like 20 different pre-readers going through that thing with like a fine-tooth comb, so you never know if they had any sort of sway on
Yeah,
that.
it's there's nothing to say how much influence they might have had too.
True. Also
They may
true.
have been the ones who really suggested, why don't you update it?
Yeah.
This seems like such an unnecessary thing to do for me, from my point of view.
It's also possible that it wasn't as taboo a thing back then. Like, I remember when it happened, thinking it was a dumb thing to do. But it's possible that I was one of the few people who did back then. Maybe it was more acceptable at the time. I can't really comment, seeing as I'm not really a writer. So.
I have to admit, I think I probably read the later edition because I didn't read it until I think last year sometime.
Yeah,
And I
like he
just
updated
kind
it midway through season 2. Yeah.
And it was just kind of one of those, I'm not really interested, but you know what, fuck it, I'll read it. Everybody talks about it, I'll just plow through it. And I mean, because I wasn't super interested to begin with, and because I had so many preconceptions and attitudes about it and memes that, I mean, you just can't get away from, I was really just kind of met on it because of the fact that it was just so hyped and so talked about and so exciting and everything. It was just, it really couldn't live up to those expectations. And I especially remember the last couple of chapters just kind of going, oh my god, isn't it over yet? Like, just kind of trying to slog through it
Yeah.
to just
That's
get it done.
the thing. I would not recommend Past Sins as like a story to read on its own merits. It's not terrible, but it's not something I would recommend to people unless they were interested in sort of learning about how the fandoms progressed through, like the way our writing style as a sort of fandom as a whole has progressed. Like, it's a case study almost. Like you can see.
Yeah, it's a really interesting
example
example of sort of what the fandom used to be about, and how we used to write and the things we used to be interested in.
That's My Little Dashie, and I'd have to say, what's Nick Knack's Gilda story?
Heart of Gold.
I can't remember
Steel.
what it's. Heart of Gold, Feathers of Steel. Those three are the three that I would probably recommend if for someone who wanted to find out what it was like earlier in the fandom, because I think those three sum it up pretty well. I know Nick Knack's story isn't anywhere near as famous as the other two, but but it
is still quite meaningful in terms of how we interpreted early characters.
Absolutely, it covered an awful lot of ground that I would think people would be interested in knowing about, and I remember liking that story. I remember enjoying Hearts of Gold, Feathers of Steel. So it's entirely possible it's crap. Sorry, Nick Knack.
He's
he did
not
update
really
it though,
around anymore, so I don't think he's going to care too much.
He did update it, didn't he? At some point, he rewrote it. That's what he did. He didn't update it like Pentrick, because rewriting I don't have a problem with so long as it's done well.
Certainly, Boston Bottles has said he wants to rewrite like Worst Baker in Equestria. He'd really like to go back and rewrite that. Now that he has more experience and skill. And I my attitude to that is I think that's fine. If you want to rewrite a story, great. But I like having the original copy as well, because, I mean, for some people, that's the story they really fell in love with, and so having that go away kind of sucks. And it's also a case of it's interesting to be able to look at those old stories and go, this is what was really popular, as a kind of case study, a historical look. So I like having that option.
It's almost like fandom archaeology in a weird way.
Yeah, basically. Well, not even in a weird way. It literally is archaeology. of a sort. Well, more paleontology and such.
Yeah,
Counted
you're digging
dinosaurs
up
there, right?
you're digging up dinosaur bones. Oh, he's got a frill on his head. How weird. People like that back then. That was the feature box page.
That was what everybody believed. Wow.
Yeah. But yeah, like I'm trying to think of other stories I read. Like, one I would recommend is oh god, what's it called? The big Tolkien-esque adventure fic.
Dangerous business going on.
Dangerous business going out your door. Absolutely. That's. It was. I enjoyed it at the time. I still think it probably stands up pretty well, even though I haven't read it in a fair while. But that's another thing that I would recommend people check out for the time. I have no idea what the sequel's like. That's something.
A lot more
I haven't touched that yet either.
It's a lot more action oriented.
Right. Worth reading?
Mileage may vary. I think the first one's better.
Yeah, that's probably fair. It's entirely possible I'm just being tainted by nostalgia hugely, so, you know.
Yeah, and that's the trick, right? It is really hard to sort of separate from the past.
I think basically everyone who's been in reading stories in the fandom for a while will agree that the quality of writing has improved over time. I don't think that would be
we have some of the best quality fic out there
nowadays.
in terms of yeah, and I mean honestly in a big way that's thanks to EQD and FinFic.
Oh yeah, while it's true that a lot of sort of Sunchase is back. Fantastic.
I would point people to Moonstone Cup, which was a very good.
I really couldn't get into that. I just found the writing style really indecipherable. But I mean, certainly I know a lot of people who said really good things about it.
Moonstone Cup. Oh, I remember this one.
Moonstone Cup is apparently very good. I just, for whatever reason, I could not get into the writing style. I just found it very indecipherable.
I remember this, yeah. God, it's been years since I've thought about this one.
Right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. God, what am I doing with my life? Welcome back, son. We're just discussing old stuff, like stories that we read back when the fandom was but a blossoming little flower sort of thing.
Back when
Are you audible?
Sold out.
Yes, before Twilight sold out.
Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, Red was just talking about the Moonstone Cup. I was talking about what was that?
Business.
Dangerous Business and Heart of Gold, Feathers of Steel. What is something that you remember from your early days in the fandom, aside from Eternal and a couple of things like that?
Oh, jeez.
To give it more context, we're talking about how the fandom has evolved over time and how you can see that in the writing style. Something like Past Sins would seriously struggle to get popular nowadays, yet for its time it was extremely popular and still is. So.
Also anything by the Descendant, because he wrote a lot of good stuff in the early years.
He did, although he's still writing. He's written that. What's that Spike Goes on a Journey one called?
I know what you're talking about. I don't remember the name though.
Yeah, well, you know the story I'm talking about, but the fact that he's still writing Spike and Twilight Brother Sister stuff. I wonder if it's possible to make a case study purely out of the Descendants' writing style and how it's evolved over time. That would be interesting.
I suspect you potentially could. I think he's prolific.
Yeah, that might be interesting. But yes,
son, do go answer our question before we interrupt you.
Well, I had time to think about it now, so.
Hooray!
One that jumps to my head is the games we play.
Ooh,
yes. Yeah. Is that Absolute Anonymous?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
It was Mare-Duel. I suppose that's relatively early in the sort of film fiction side of things, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was pretty good for the time, but it really wouldn't hold up now.
No.
Yeah.
I remember thinking that the ending was lackluster, but I could be mistaken on that because it has been years since I read it.
No, it was lackluster.
Fair enough.
Very well.
Sorry, Absolute Anonymous, if you decided to return from the grave for the 5 minutes to tune into this show.
We still love you.
Zenith. Yes.
It was good, but it didn't end quite the way that it should have. It could have been better.
Yeah. It could have had a better ending. Everything up to that I remember enjoying at the time, although I couldn't tell you how much I'd enjoy it nowadays, so yeah. What else was it like? Would you call the Immortal Game a product of that series? That time period.
Yeah, I would have to say so, especially given that, like, even things like Rarity's parents weren't canon by the time that was going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just looking at it now. The first comment is 195 weeks ago. So yeah, it's clearly from that sort of period.
Mhm.
I'm wondering if that would affect someone's ability to get into it now, because
Well, you're going to find out, aren't you?
yeah, I'm going to find out. I'm just wondering how much I should brace myself, because basically every single story we've mentioned so far, with the possible exception of Descendant stories, I think most of them still hold up fairly well. Most of the ones we mentioned so far have been stuff that was very popular for its time and very good for its time, but wouldn't just wouldn't float at all nowadays.
The way that I see it is there's sort of two kinds of stories. There's good stories that happen to be pony, and there's good pony stories.
Yeah.
The former tends to last over time a lot better, and I would say that Past Sins and Games We Play and such are good pony stories, but things like Immortal Game are good stories that happen to be pony. Because I found
Which would you put Dangerous Business Going Out Your Door, or you think it's shit? One of the three.
I haven't actually read it. I've heard lots about it.
Oh!
Gas.
Oh, well, you're off the panel now. You're off your own panel, sorry.
You can't throw me off. I am the panel.
I'm the law.
Do's and
Jesus
don'ts
Christ.
of fan fiction. Do read Dangerous Business. Don't not read Dangerous Business. If you can't follow those two rules, you're out.
Okay.
I don't like Dangerous
I'll read
Business.
Immortal Game, and I will read Dangerous Business.
Deal. What else is there? The Eternal's definitely from that time period. Would you say Eternal stands up nowadays? Or
No, I would have to say it probably doesn't.
yeah.
It stands up better than some things, but overall, not really.
That's the case of a lot of things, isn't it? Like nowadays they wouldn't be terrible. They just wouldn't be the sort of amazing like show-stopping things that they were back in the day, like
They're
the
no
Moonstone
longer
Cup was.
The top shelf now that the fandom is.
Yeah. We've built a bigger set of drawers. We've got higher shelves than this now.
Oh,
But yes.
another story and that kind of thing. Would you consider like Yours Truly to be one of those kind of stories that really stands up?
Truly.
By Thinkall, the letter chain one.
I'm looking it up. I have not read this.
Okay, never mind then. I guess. I guess I'm not allowed to ask that if you don't know it.
I would say it stands up pretty good. But I also kind of have a personal bias towards the epistolary.
I remember this was like the only that of like letter chain format kind of story that I actually like that's in this fandom. It's like the only one that really did it well, in my opinion.
Yours truly.
I think there are other stories that do letter chain formats better. Oh, well, at least. Didn't Flash Gen's A Shining Light in the Darkness kind of do let? Oh no, they were more diary format, weren't they? I suppose.
I did like Yours Truly when I first read it. I don't know what I would think if I read it now.
I would have to add to this sort of growing group that we've got the Apotheosis and Off the Edge of the Map series. I know Pear loves those stories, but I tried to get into them
They're
7 or
pretty
8 months ago.
Dense. They have a lot of ideas that aren't exactly like related to Pony necessarily, and
I tried getting into them 7 or 8 months ago, and it just didn't gel with me. And I'm willing to bet it's got something to do with the time period and the state of mind in general that I was in when I started reading these. Because it's entirely worth pointing out that there are people coming into the fandom every day, and they are coming into the fandom with the same mindset as the fandom in general had in 2012. You know, they're going to come into the fandom and, oh my god, My Little Dashi tore my heart in two, Past Sins is amazing, and
then they go and write
these-
more of them.
Yeah, more Cupcakes Chronicles, please. That's exactly what we need.
And please submit them to EQD, because honest to God, we're totally going to crack any day now and start posting those.
We don't have enough cupcakes on EQD.
That's actually how I got into fanfiction. Funnily enough.
Cupcakes. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a fair few people did, but so long as since then you've been able to recognize that maybe cupcakes wasn't the epitome of all stories, then you know.
You're fine.
I just thought the ending was funny.
I can't remember what it was, because like I remember reading it when it first came out, and everyone was freaking out, and kind of going, "What's the big deal?"
It was something like.
Bad slasher fantasy.
You remember basically how the story goes, right?
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
like,
The
hey Dash,
ending-
come on over. I'm
Oh.
gonna slice you into pieces.
Well, like the ending paragraph was basically like Pinkie Pie looked in the mirror and she I look really good, and then it said something like Pinkie Pie winked at the mirror and then Rainbow Dash winked back or something like that.
Oh yeah, something stupid like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
For some reason that.
What?
Yeah.
it's really bizarre.
Have you not read it then?
If I'm recalling
No.
it correctly, then spoilers, because obviously
Spoilers for cupcakes. Oh dear.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
Shoot the
dear.
video.
Rainbow Dash winks back is because Pinkie is wearing her skin.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Basically, she's wearing her like a coat.
She is the new Rainbow Dash. Instead of
Literally.
that joke here a dozen
So what you're
times.
saying is the story ripped off Silence of the Lambs.
Basically.
Yeah. It was pretty
Silence
much
of the Lambs ripped off cupcakes.
It was a checkbox of every horror gore trope you could fit.
Yeah, it was basically just how many things can I cram into, a couple 4chan posts.
Shock horror. Shock
I
horror.
remember.
Shock
I
horror.
remember when Equestria Daily still accepted green text stories.
Oh god, because they were
Yeah.
so desperate for anything to post.
When
God, you wrote something, we'll post it! Please!
when they were posted in image format.
I think one of the first stories
Yeah.
I ever saw on Equestria Daily was like a green text about AJ and Big Mac.
Yeah.
Very compromised. You know what I mean.
Yep.
Yeah.
And like the first draw friend was basically just pixel kitties. Like the only one who was doing art. Like, oh my god, you drew things! We will post all of it.
I think the thing which really discouraged me from I do visit Equestria Daily every now and again, I will freely admit, but I think the thing which discouraged me from browsing it regularly was the fact that draw friends became 100 things long or whatever it was,
only like 40 or 50 pics these days.
only 40 or
Actually,
50.
yeah, but in like the latest podcast, we actually had somebody complaining who was like, why, like they used to be like 50 or 60, like why did you cut them back? And Seth was just like, I don't find pictures. Basically people don't submit pictures, and so I have to just use my own pics, and I don't find all that much. So submit stuff.
Instead of pre-readers, just hire some pre-artists who just walk around and look for nice pictures.
Oh god,
see,
no.
Equestria Daily.
I'll end up having to manage them, and I have my hands full with the pre-readers.
Oh dear. Oh dear. Rip Ferret.
No, I want to be able to go to BronyCon.
This is true. The author support panel and stuff like that. Oh
yeah,
dear.
and the Equestria Daily panel.
Also true. Obviously not the do's and don'ts of fanfic panel, because that is for plebs. Seeing as I'm no
Has
longer
nothing to
on
do
it,
with the fact that I'm not a writer at all. No.
I mean, I'm not a writer, ish. I do have the story which will make Pav cry, but I'm wondering how to introduce that. Just as an aside to Sun, how are we going to introduce I'm a guy who's written no stories, and I'm in the perfect position to tell you how to write yours. This is something we should perhaps.
I seem to recall that we've had people who weren't strictly writers on the Do's and Don'ts panel before. Like, if you work for Equestria Daily, or if you're major staff in writing groups, or you're an editor for a well-known writer, or things like that. As long as you know what you're talking about, you don't strictly have to be writing things.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing at the end. I'm just wondering how we're going to convince the audience that.
See, but I don't think you would have a hard time. You literally walk up and go, "Hi, I'm named after a Cluedo character," and everyone just goes, "Okay, that's your bonus."
Hello, I'm British.
Well, I'm listing off all the groups you're in.
You have to remember, to Americans,
Fallout
the
question,
British
yeah.
are automatically, superior sounding.
Yeah.
And you tell her-
I know what
regardless of
I'm
who you
talking
elect
about
to part
because
with
of
it.
my accent. Yes.
I will introduce you. It's like, everyone, this is Professor Plum. He is British and therefore qualified.
Sonny, I'm going to hold you to that. I'm going to come to that panel. If you don't do that, I will call you on it.
If you don't do that, I'm going to introduce myself as British and therefore qualified.
Yeah, but it's so much funnier when the guy who's running the panel
True,
does it.
yeah,
It
very
just adds
true.
so much more legitimacy.
Legitimacy to the Britishness. Yes. I am a legitimate Brit. Legitimate. Anyway, sorry. I'm very much in an odd mood tonight, as always.
Which is to say, you're drunk.
Yes. Well, I was out earlier, and then I had drinks while we were airshipping, and things happened.
So
There
you've
were
had a few.
explosions. I have had a few. A few is one way of putting it.
Copious is another.
I'm Scottish. I drink this stuff. I just swim in it. But yeah, Purple Prose in the public chat is attempting to defend Apotheosis and its sequels. Pleb. Anyway,
What does Sonny think of Apotheosis?
yes,
I read it.
excellent.
I do think one thing, though.
Mhm.
It's called apoptosis.
What is that?
That's how you pronounce the word. It's
Fair enough.
spelled apotheosis. It's pronounced apoptosis.
Okay.
Well, then I'll just say off the map,
There
off
you-
the edge of the map, and its sequels. There we go.
There you go. Yes, it means
Sure. Just, dodge the issue entirely.
Best way.
things it turns out that I haven't read, especially since I haven't read anything in Pony in like the past year.
You
So
mean
have
you
you
haven't
just
been
kinda
religiously
completely-
reading the Seattle's Angels posts?
Why not? I'm in them.
Yes, very true.
I'm just going through my favorites list right now. Everyone should also read Twilight Sky over Candlelight because that had a very formative effect on my writing. Very cuddly, feelsy kind of story.
I'm not sure if there's going to be any like really old stuff in my favorite. Maybe what is it?
There is
Sunny
my
Skies,
favorites, but there's too many.
I just
Sunny
found off
Skies
the
all
edge
day
of the-
long.
I just found off the edge of the
classic.
map in my
Mhm.
my favorites. That's been 2011.
Sunny Skies All Day Long is
That's
one of the ones
also-
that I would recommend simply because it's. I wouldn't
It's also
call
a
it.
cornerstone fic.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it mind blowing nowadays, but it's very
It's a
much.
good example of
sets-
early fandom.
Yeah, it's a good example of early fandom, and it's not bad.
Yeah,
Cool.
Somewhere Only We Know. There we go.
Damn it! I was
Oh.
going to say that next.
It's very cute.
That's
and
one of the oldies.
If you want to know how to write a sad story, go read that story.
Yes.
But yeah, I'd recommend Sunny Skies All Day Long simply because of the fact that it went out from what I remember of it, it was basically an episode. But
yeah, it pretty much is an episode.
it captured the feel of the show itself in such a really enjoyable way, you know?
I Ain't Got No Accent by Connor Cogwork is another one.
Mm.
A really,
Oh,
really early one, and it's
Yeah, his
really
other
good.
one. His other big one, On Across the Narrow.
Oh yeah,
That's the other.
What, sorry?
basically they canonically gave us Rule 63 ponies.
Yeah.
Oh, On Across the
Narrow.
Narrow.
That
But see, I
story.
read Alex Straz's 63rd Room before I ever read Cross No Narrow.
Cross and Arrow definitely does not hold up.
No.
No.
I would
63rd
not
Room
recommend.
sort of does.
Oh my god, another one. On Feathered Wings. Do you remember that one?
I
sounds
vaguely
was-
do.
That was
Wow.
the first. I'm pretty sure it was the first story about Rainbow Dash breaking her wings, and that's the one that caused like all those Rainbow Dash breaks her wings kind of stories.
I remember
about,
Malice
For Dash losing her wings, I always remember Chernobog's Those Blue Wings.
Yeah, that's a pretty good one.
What about Pinky watches paint dry?
Oh no. I wouldn't have recommended it either.
I saw so many Rainbow Dash breaks your wing stories. I can't even remember them anymore. They're just all a bleak blob.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they just all kind
Fun
of
fact.
each other.
Fun fact. This Platinum Crown is like the 7th story in my favorites list in terms of if you order it by date. So that's either an old story or it shows that I don't really favorite basically anything that I read before mid 2012. So.
Feels
Now
like
I
a,
have to go and look what the oldest stuff is.
it feels like a
Oh well, one of mine is
That's
Not My Destiny. It's
I've
from
got
2011,
near-death
from 2011 where Twilight becomes an alicorn.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
It
yeah.
had to be one of the first Twilight becomes an alicorn fix.
Yeah. No Tame Forest by Phantom Fox, the guy who also did Sunny Skies All Day Long. That was the one where Rainbow Dash crashes in the forest and Sakura nurses her back to health so she can fight a superstorm. I remember enjoying that.
Yeah,
I've
that one
no
was
idea
good.
if it. I've no idea if it holds up. But based on my memories, I would recommend it. Ish. I don't know.
Singularity by Colden Gardez.
Yeah.
Yes.
One of the earliest
That's
ones
the
I
one.
got.
Speaking of Colden Gardez, The Wind Thief.
Oh,
Basically,
God, yes.
anything by Claudine Gardez we will recommend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tales by Geopole.
Oh! No, here's one. It Takes a Village.
Oh,
Ew.
God, yes.
I never read that. That's actually still on my
Progress
to-read
and
list.
talent.
I give that an out of
Yeah, it's an
I really liked it, honestly.
I really enjoyed It
But
Takes a Village.
everybody should go find Geopole on Fanfic and read Tales because that's.
I
It's
also recommend
basically-
Progress by Andrew Joshua Talon that basically gave us, Luna
Yes.
is out of touch.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's
Yeah, you
that's
literally
definitely a
toaster.
classic. I don't know if I'd recommend it based on its literary merits, but
I would
it's a
recommend-
classic.
I would.
It was funny.
Oh, God.
If
Celestia's
you can,
by a Baladoth. That's one of the earliest fics I remember reading.
I actually just read that last week. That was
I
really good.
love that story.
Yeah, that was really good.
Yeah, it's the Midnight Run as well. It's another
I
one I
haven't read
really
that one,
like. The Midnight Run is really cool. It's very treating ponies, like rather than magical candy-colored ponies. It's really tapping into that sort of, I guess, almost primordial sort of aspect of them.
I'd recommend Having a Ball by Serial Velocity.
I just want
Yes!
I want it on record that Tales by Geopole was one of those stories. Is actually one of those stories where Twilight actually gets old and does not become an alicorn because it was and even back then people were writing about Twilight being an alicorn, but this is an actual old Twilight Sparkle near the end of her life recalling all the weird things that happened to her, and it has such it has a really nice way of like tying itself back to the beginning, and it's kind of a circular thing going on, but it's really good.
Very cool.
Because the first and last chapters start out. It starts out with her like saying that I used to know this zebra named Zakora, and I never found out what happened to her. And then at the very end of the story, it goes back to that, and she says, after all this, I still never knew what happened to Zakora.
Aww.
Aww.
In complete contrast to that, I'm going to recommend Having a Ball by Serial Velocity because it's a kid rarity playing around with a bouncy ball.
Well,
That
if
is
you're
all
gonna
you
recommend,
need to know.
well, if you're going to recommend that, then why don't you recommend Simply Rarity? If you're going to go that far back.
Because that wasn't written by Serial Velocity. So,
Yeah. Gotta have some, policies.
Yeah. Ah, dear God.
There's also the amazing, equestrians in undergarments.
I don't think I've read that one, but this...
It's really random because it's just quite ridiculous.
I just feel ridiculously old and I'm questioning what I'm doing with my life at this moment in time.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I'm like the me who read these stories that I'm recounting. I will freely admit he was a different me. I think he was probably a bit more of a dick than I am, which is saying something considering how much of a dick I am right now.
That is impressive.
Yeah, it is pretty impressive. But I'd almost count like the time that I started reading this stuff as a different section of my life, which is really strange to go back and think about these things. I'm not sure how I feel about this, and you all make me feel weird. Sorry about that. Christ almighty.
I'm literally just going back and looking at, ancient fics I read from way back then and going, wow, I didn't realize how old these were.
Yeah.
Tricks of the Trade by Miyajima.
Tricks of
Antipodes.
And it's so weird to see
Antipode. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Antipodes, right?
I think. I don't know. I always just
Story.
pronounced it antipodes, but I acknowledge I'd be wrong.
That
I
story,
always pronounce it as Antipodes.
that story started out interesting, and then took such a hard nosedive towards the end.
Yeah. Or The Empty Room by Wanderer D.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, Antipodes definitely took a nosedive for me, at least. Like
Yeah.
even in the early chapters, where you've got one of the characters whose like special talent is that he can understand things, and immediately he uses this magical power to turn a destroyed train into a car and drives it off. Like, as soon as that happened, even back in like 2012 or whenever, when I was reading it, I was like,
Yeah. It's one of those things that I liked. It's one of those things that I liked conceptually, and I was like, I'm just gonna keep reading and see as they actually, take this to its full potential, and then they didn't.
Yeah.
I was disappointed in Antipodes or Antipodes or however you pronounce it.
However you want to pronounce it.
On
Yeah,
the
it had a
subject to their full potential. Just going through my favorites for old things that I would recommend. I found something by Skywriter.
What is
Ooh.
it?
Twilight Sparkle
Basically
Earth, the
everything.
feature box.
Yes!
Basically
I love
everything
that
Skywriter
story.
I would
It
probably
is
recommend.
so good.
Yeah.
So ridiculously meta and so funny.
Yeah.
Remember we had
I
that
would
kerfuffle
recommend-
about meta stories?
I remember when the word meta used to be what it actually is.
Oh shush. Oh Jesus
Bitch,
Christ!
bitch,
Remember when 3 weeks ago, or whatever it was, OBS had to reiterate what "not safe for work" means because people wouldn't stop posting "not safe for work" images.
I know. As if you can't find that anywhere else on the internet by now.
Yeah. I mean, this is.
And then people started freaking out because it was like new rules. Like, no, these have
No,
existed.
This has been the way it's been for a while, and like, at the end of the day, this is a horse fan fiction website. If you want like pictures with nipples or whatever, go to Derpiburu. Just go.
Yeah.
Go bother Arch over there or something like that. You know, like
Oh, poor Arcanix.
poor Arch, poor social justice warrior Arconix.
Oh, I love that.
Fucking horse news, Jesus Christ.
The horse news can be hilarious, and like they're really good folks, and I love them dearly. But oh god, sometimes
They
drive me
could
crazy.
be hilarious. Horse news could be hilarious if they stopped taking themselves so goddamn
Well, like,
seriously
I've hung
some
out
of the
with,
time.
a couple of the staffers. Like, they've come to BronyCon and we hung out.
They
They're
don't.
really good
I
folks.
don't know if we're reading the same side because they don't take themselves seriously.
They generally don't, and then they do stuff like if they like the latest example is that some artist left the fandom, so Horse News decided.
Because they were upset that people were taking characters and whitewashing them.
Yeah, well, we're not going to debate the politics of whitewashing or how you whitewash
Yeah.
like a purple character.
No, but just that
but-
people were doing that.
The fact is that the
They were
whitewashing is
taking their characters that I think were like
dark-skinned,
and then
made them whiter.
redoing the characters as white.
Yeah, but like we're not going to debate any of that because at the end of the day, Horse News posted her OkCupid profile for some reason. Like literally in the article it said, and here's her OkCupid profile if you want to contact her through that. There's no reason for that. That has nothing to do with any. Why would you link that? Why would you link that? Because you just know that people are going to start harassing her. That's not fun. Like that's taking it a bit far, you know.
That's exactly why you would link it. So
Yeah.
that the internet will go all vigilante on your behalf.
Yeah, and also it doesn't
To
help.
be honest, the internet was on her side.
Yeah.
The internet
Oh,
was
yeah.
of the attitude that, oh my god, Derpy Guru was totally in the wrong for banning people for starting drama,
Yeah.
and, this was the whole, oh my god, social
Yeah,
justice warrior Derpy
That's
Guru.
the entire thing. The article wasn't particularly about her. It was about the fact that the Derpiburu mod team were like, no fucking drama starting here, please. And Horse News started whining about that.
God damn it,
That's
Arch.
literally the entire goddamn
Yeah,
article.
that was basically the article, was literally just, oh my god, they're so inaccurate and they're such assholes.
Yeah, it's just.
God damn it, Arch.
I'm trying to distance myself from Horse News as much as possible, quite frankly.
Nah,
Oh dear.
I don't hang out there. The folks, like the people who write on it, can be entertaining to hang out with, whatever.
Yeah, but
But I don't go on the site, for sure.
no, I don't normally check it, but yeah, we were getting off topic. Well, before then we were talking about stories that's from the past, like blasts from the past sort of things that we were going on with. Like, Antipodes, yeah, that was absolutely a disappointment for me. I'm thinking probably the other big disappointment from way back when, like, relatively early days reading was, oh god, what's the Lyra becomes a human, the one that everyone always talks about? Anthropology. I think it had potential, and then it just squandered
definitely.
it had potential, it then squandered it, and then it just said, fuck it, Discord turns up, main 6 turns up, end of story.
I remember distinctly, I did remember my reaction to when, well, spoilers for Anthropology.
Spoilers for
I remember
25.
my reaction at the very end when Lyra starts talking, like, how the human characters represent the elements of harmony. I'm like, where did this come from?
Yeah. Like, you've skipped like 50 chapters at this point. You just got bored with it, stuck the elements of harmony in there, and just called it a day. Like, it doesn't quite scan, I'm afraid, Jason the Human. Sorry. At least not to me. I know other people quite enjoy it, so. Yeah.
And on that bombshell, I think we should be wrapping up.
Yes, we absolutely should. How long have we been running
You could
for?
also look at anything on the Pony Fiction Vault by RB-47.
Yes, this is true. We do have a vault dedicated to preserving this stuff.
Oh my! Wait! When did this come out? Tonight I Shall Be Laughter. Does anybody remember that?
Oh,
that's,
yeah, I
is that
remember.
Augie
I
Dog?
don't remember when it came out.
Is that Augie Dog, I think?
Yeah.
Uh,
Cloud Wander.
Yeah, it's Cloud
Cloud
Wander
Wander?
stuff.
I remember.
He does some really good stuff, though.
He remembers.
But yeah, so we should be wrapping this up. Check out Skywriter, because all of his stuff, even the old stuff, is cool. Check out Calling Gardez, because that's equally so. Check out Sunchaser if you can stand horses making kissy faces at each other.
He doesn't write just that. He's written some other really solid stuff, too.
Well, it's all about the kissy faces.
Please tell me.
Kissy faces, it's just mostly kissy faces.
Mostly.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
they go
maybe
beyond
if you
kissy faces.
harass him,